Istanbul, Turkey's cultural centre and gateway to the East, where Europe and Asia collide. In a city where cultures clash on a daily basis, it's no surprise that Istanbul is also home to one of the most ferocious games in world football. Fenerbahçe against Galatasaray.
The Istanbul derby is incredible. I'm a Galatasaray fan, but if there was no Fenerbahçe, it wouldn't be right. I can say I'm glad they exist.
We don't like them. I mean, not like we hate them, actually. The most important thing in my life.
Right from the beginning, this game has been so important in Turkey. I mean, we don't know any other derby, just Galatasaray Fenerbahçe.
Fenerbahçe is an Asian team, Galatasaray the people's team, with a proud 100-year history.
Like you can walk around the city when you, like your head up, you know. You feel it in your blood. You know that you are not losers.
They are both teams who've achieved so much in Turkey, the two biggest teams in the country. Conflict is always expected in these matches, and that's what makes it a real rivalry. It's one of the most important derbies in world football.
The reason this derby is regarded so seriously both in European and in world football is because of this 100-year rivalry. And it's continued with the same intensity.
You get the feeling there are two championships here, one the actual league, and the other the matches against Galatasaray. I think it's a huge rivalry. One of the biggest that I've seen in my career.
It's very big, it's unbelievable. Football is a religion in Turkey, and especially in Istanbul with 3 teams in one city. So it will be a big fight again.
There was a great deal of hostility in the games, not so much from the players. You know, there was no outrageous challenges, there was no ridiculous things went on the pitch, but certainly amongst the supporters, you know, there was real bad feeling between each other.
Thursday, May the 17th, 2007. Fenerbahçe had just won the Turkish Superliga. Their next game would be against bitter rivals Galatasaray.
It will be like winning another championship. We had some good title-winning celebrations, but I'm sure there'll be some more if we beat Galatasaray. We're going there to win a different sort of title, because we know beating Galatasaray is always a unique feeling.
In their previous game, they sealed their triumph with a late draw against Trabzonspor. It was their 17th title, overhauling Galatasaray's total of 16 league wins. And while celebrations were uninhibited, the focus was still only on one thing: beating Galatasaray the following week.
We've done what we had to do, and nothing can take that away. But we know the importance of this game. We know what a win against Galatasaray represents, as much for them as it does for us. So we'll play seriously and properly, as if we still needed the 3 points.
As the players prepared ahead of the derby, there was still much at stake. This is a century-old rivalry that divides the entire city. Losing the derby could effectively tarnish an otherwise impeccable season.
Galatasaray matches are very important. We need to go out there and concentrate. I'm hoping that's how we'll play and that we'll be smiling at the end of the day.
The mood in the camp was understandably relaxed. Players signed autographs and posed for photos, safe in the knowledge that they had won the title, not to mention the last 5 out of 6 games against their bitter rivals.
As we go into the game as champions, we're a little more relaxed, but at the same time we know what it means to play Galatasaray and we know what it means to beat them. The fans demand it, and despite the natural relaxed atmosphere here, it will be a great game to play in and hopefully win.
Switch to Galatasaray and the mood was less buoyant. Still fighting for second place and a Champions League qualification spot, veteran striker and club legend Hakan Şükür was naturally wary about the prospect of entertaining the newly crowned champions.
First of all, we should congratulate them for being champions. Everyone there has put in a lot of effort throughout the season. But this is a one-off game. Whether they're champions or not, you can't view this as just an ordinary game. The results from these matches are important. Without thinking about anything else, we just have to go out and play and try and win like our fans are expecting.
It was only a year earlier, in May 2006, that Galatasaray were enjoying their own success as champions. Their recent form in derby matches had been poor, and even a win this time against Fenerbahçe wouldn't make up for missing out on the biggest prize of all.
I always told, like last year, we lost both of them, but we were champion. I say I would like to lose every time, every year, if we are champion. Now they are champion, and we really would like to win this game.
If those celebrations now seemed a distant memory, Galatasaray could content themselves at least with the fact that a derby win then could bring some joy to an otherwise unrewarding season.
It was always said that you could only be a true Galatasaray player when you had actually beaten Fenerbahçe. And it was the same at Fenerbahçe too. The same joy and excitement is felt there. When I was at Fenerbahçe, things were going really badly. Board members were about to resign, the results were bad, but a victory at their ground made you forget everything.
Istanbul is a sprawling city reckoned to house close on 20 million people. It's divided by the mighty Bosphorus Strait. On one side lies Europe, on the other Asia. Reasons for the Istanbul rivalry can be viewed similarly. Over in Europe, a Galatasaray. Cross to the Asian side, and you are in Fenerbahçe territory.
There's a lot of history and tradition. These are the 2 best teams in the country. And I think over the course of time, and because of the locations of both teams, one in Europe and one in Asia, this has made for a great rivalry.
I think maybe something's made of that, you know, one is in Asia, Fenerbahçe are in Asia, and Galatasaray on the European side. But I think it's more to do with Galatasaray are sort of regarded as the aristocracy, whereas Fenerbahçe are more the working class team over there.
Galatasaray were founded in 1905 in the heart of the city at the prestigious Lisesi Galatasaray. It has indeed a reputation of being the club of Istanbul's elite.
Galatasaray is a university, and a lot of their board members, or all the board members, have been to that university, and Galatasaray and Fenerbahçe is more the working class. But right now, and Galatasaray have won a European competition. Galatasaray have been dominant until this recent history where Fenerbahçe have taken over.
Allied to a recent injection of cash, Fenerbahçe have taken over then from Galatasaray as the powerhouse of Turkish football. But this transition of power has heightened already fragile relations between the clubs.
I've only been involved in the one game, and there were lots of problems. We even had stadium issues of our own as our fans threw a lot of things at their coach. They threw things onto the pitch. Every little thing got them wound up. So it's a problematic game.
Off-the-pitch problems have dogged this fixture in recent seasons, but the atmosphere remains unique. When the 2 clubs met in December 2006, the game was as highly charged in the stands as it was electric out on the field.
The atmosphere on the pitch was great. Last game that we played in Fenerbahçe. It was a good match. Unfortunately, there were some incidents, and that's not so nice, but on the pitch it was great. The fans of the other team, they do not like you at all. They throw all kind of stuff at you. But from the other side, to live such a big derby, that's fantastic.
There's never any love lost between either side in a Galatasaray-Fenerbahçe clash. On this occasion, goals from two foreign imports, Alex and Matej Kejman, gave Fenerbahçe a 2-0 win. A victory against the old enemy and a step towards the title.
It was great because we won. It was perfect. And in the grander scheme of things, that victory helped us on our way to the title we've just won.
Friday night before the derby, and it's party night. Not even the wet weather can dampen Fenerbahçe's spirits as fans gather to watch the two clubs clash at basketball, a common precursor to the football itself.
Galatasaray basketball will play Fenerbahçe basketball and ladies basketball as well. There's rivalry at all levels, but the real passion is shown when two football teams come together.
Graham Souness knows firsthand about the unique passion in Turkish football. Back in 1996, his Galatasaray team won at Fenerbahçe to lift the Turkish Cup. Souness's celebrations were to make him a club legend.
What happened? We won the cup, and after the game, we went down to where our supporters were behind the goal, and someone's handed one of the players a great big flag, and they're all passing it around each other. And eventually it's handed to me, and I wave it a few times, turn round to hand it to someone, and by that time all our players had gone back up to the halfway line. So I ended up running back up towards the halfway line with this great big flag. And as I'm doing so, I looked up into the stand and saw this director of Fenerbahçe who had been very unkind to me when I arrived. And he actually said, what are Galatasaray doing employing a cripple? He was referring to the open heart surgery I had had. So something flashed through my mind, and I said, I'll show you who's a cripple. So I veered off to the middle of the pitch and planted it in the middle of the pitch, and as I turned round, then I realised what I'd done. All these supporters were now trying to climb the fence to get onto the pitch to murder me, I think. But it received a great deal of publicity at the time, and I believe even today in the derby matches they still sell the t-shirts and pictures of me planting this flag on their pitch.
Yeah, April 13, 1996. It was the away game, Fenerbahçe. We were in their stadium, and after the game, we won 2-1, and he just ran in the middle of the field with that big flag, like a crusader, We love him.
He's like hero to us. He's a hero.
We love him.
Everyone remembers it well. It was an unforgettable moment. It's a source of pride for all Galatasaray fans. They remember it well and regard Mr. Souness as a real hero.
Of course, from a Galatasaray point of view, but not for the Fenerbahçe fans. If they'd caught him at that moment, I don't know whether they'd have bitten him or eaten him.
Yılmadık. Mutluyuz. Başka hiç söyleyecek bir şey bulamıyorum. Evren, sen nasıl izledin maçı?
I think there was a feeling almost instantly that I wish I hadn't done that.
Saturday, May the 19th, 2007, and it's the morning of the derby. The big question, would Galatasaray give the newly crowned champions a guard of honour?
If Galatasaray do this, it'll be a first in Turkey. They'll be doing the right thing and showing their class to everyone. Because Galatasaray have already proved themselves with European success. For me, the right thing to do would be to form a guard of honour.
Traditional as it may be, this fixture isn't exactly renowned for its sportsmanship, given all that's at stake. So what do the fans think about a guard of honour?
If Galatasaray came to Kadıköy, I wouldn't applaud them either, and so I'm not expecting them to. But this year we beat every single team. We beat Trabzonspor, Galatasaray the first time round, and Beşiktaş. We haven't dropped a single point against any of the top 9 teams. We've beaten everyone, so yeah, they should applaud us now.
We're not going to applaud today. No way. They should know that. We just want to win today.
The media created this debate the other day, should we applaud or not? They never asked the fans if we were going to applaud, though. We're not going to, and that's that.
By the time Saturday afternoon came around, the issue was largely forgotten. Home fans arrived several hours before the game. It's an amazing sight. For as far as the eye can see, there are throngs of red and yellow. Passers-by are greeted by a wall of sound. Supporters in great spirits and great voice too, ahead of such an important game.
It depends what the game is worth, but there's a really heavy atmosphere in terms of the rivalry. The fans here put their teams above almost everything, sometimes even their families. So it's slightly different to other countries. But lately, thankfully, nothing worse has happened than a few celebrations inside the ground.
There were still 5 hours until kick-off, but the atmosphere was little short of incendiary. Plenty of passion, but brimming with menace too. The home fans had gathered ready to give Fenerbahçe a special welcome of their own. As they chanted, snarled, lit flares and stoned buses from the Fenebahçe district, there was no doubting that this year's derby would be very special. And the Guard of Honour, forget it.
It's fantastic, comparable to a Champions League game or even a World Cup match. They are special atmospheres charged with emotion and adrenaline. And for us players, it's a real privilege to play in them.
With the atmosphere on a knife edge and still a long time until kick-off, chaos inevitably ensued. An incident. Fans rushed through the busy Istanbul traffic, perhaps predicting a clash with rival away fans. A home supporter had been run over by a passing car. It's emblematic of the chaos and anarchy that surrounds this fixture. The police were already forced to make their first arrest of the afternoon. Again, all part and parcel of the Istanbul derby.
It's special, you know. You wonder if it's firecrackers going off or it's guns going off, because you know. There's a tremendous atmosphere, and there's all this racket and very different smells to what there would be at an English game when you get off the bus. It's a unique atmosphere.
The scenes couldn't be more different where the away fans entered. Sensibly, they'd arrived quietly and through the back door. A necessary move to stop this game boiling over.
I'll put it this way. For Galatasaray fans to have to go to Kadıköy in this way, and for Fenerbahçe fans to have to come to the Ali Sami Yen in this way, in fact for any fan to go to the opposition stadium like this, it's just uncivilised. I have to put my shirt on here. My crime is that I wear this shirt, and I love this shirt.
But by the time both teams had arrived, it appeared boiling point had been reached. Players were greeted to a mixed chorus of cheers and jeers. The Galatasaray fans wanted blood, be it with their own underperforming team or their title-winning neighbours. But the action was only just beginning. Fans were checked vigorously as crowd control fears increased. Nothing was left, but it was soon apparent that this derby would be no ordinary match. Fenerbahçe took a first-half lead through Diego Lugano, but the goal only stoked the flames of an already explosive affair. Fans and players alike struggled to keep their cool in the midst of the madness. Players subjected to barrage after barrage of bottles and ripped-up seats. The threatening menace had been replaced by open hostility. Fenebahçe went into the break 2 up. Edu Dresena with the goal. The away fans' party was in full swing. As the teams came back for the second half, there was little sign of the atmosphere improving. The stadium was a white-hot cauldron. As the Galatasaray fans are known to say, welcome to hell. The game continued, so did the tackles, and still the bottles and seats rained down. So much so that the match had to be abandoned midway through that second half. Play eventually got underway again, but still the arguments raged, and the stadium was being slowly destroyed. But at least they managed to complete the 90 minutes and Fenerbahçe's title celebrations could get underway. What had just occurred would become dubbed Black Saturday by the Turkish press. This was the Istanbul derby laid bare in all its ugly glory. And on this long and bleak night in Istanbul, temperatures were still rising, and the police still had much work to do. Trying to maintain order and keep emotions in check. In fairness, derby matches in Istanbul aren't always like this. Often they're a celebration of high-quality, high-octane football as Turkey continues to evolve and improve its standing within the world game. But on evenings such as this, when police and fans come to blows, it's easy to forget the football, forget the incredible passion that makes Galatasaray Fenerbahçe such a memorable spectacle. Turkish football is suffering at the hands of a violent minority. On this occasion, 12,000 seats were ripped from the stadium, and the police had to make over 50 arrests. An unsavoury night in so many ways. There's no doubt the edge to this most passionate of derbies. For the police, the night promised to be a long one. Thank you for watching. Make sure you don't miss the rest in the series of football rivalries.